A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. Yeah, I got up at 5:30 this morning. Woo. I know.
Why?
Well, we not for nothing. Last night I was doing my regular routine, and I was laying in bed, I was playing video games, and I was sort of half listening to YouTube videos, like these quasi-educational ones about like what makes a cousin a cousin. Are you your grandfather's cousin's cousin? Or how do airports make money? These weird YouTube videos that make me feel somehow like I'm entertaining or I'm educating my brain, but I'm just filling it with useless, shit for trivia nights that I'm not going to go to. And
Ever.
I have it on autoplay, so it just like pops up to the next one. And now there's some kid is on there who looks like he's in 8th grade. He's probably like 17, 18, 19. And he's talking about like, I get up at 5 a.m. and it's changed my life. And I was like, really, dude? And then he's like, yeah, my wife says I look great. And like, your wife, you look like you're 12. But he started talking about it and about all the time he had. And he was going on. I was like, yeah. What do you know? I need to get my sleep. And then this other guy popped up and he was talking about your sleep cycles and how, we disrupt our brain with an alarm. You go to sleep, you go through your sleep cycle, and then the alarm shoots off in the middle of that sleep cycle. So then you feel terrible. So you hit the snooze button. You don't get back into that sleep cycle. And it's horrible. And he was talking about how much time he had in the morning. Like you have all this time. You can get so much done. There's nobody to bother you. There's nothing else going on. He said, you should really got to shut down the screens and you got to clean up your room. You got to put everything in the neutral order so that you wake up and you're not in the midst of filth that, you go, oh, well, I can't really do anything because the room's a mess anyway or whatever. And I woke up at 5:30. I went to bed around 12 and I just decided to get up. And I woke up and I didn't touch my phone and I went out and I made some coffee and I drank some water and I read a little Carl Jung, which is dense ass shit.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to read this book, and so I decided I'd start it at 5:30 in the morning.
You fall back asleep again?
I didn't, because I had to go take the car in. But I started reading it, and I realized, like, I didn't realize that I needed like the Greek, a degree in Greek mythology to even begin this book. But anyhow, it was just interesting to me that we were going to talk about excuses today. And today was my day of no excuses. So that's what I got up at 5:30 in the morning, and I wanted to go back to bed. And I don't know how when you deal with that sort of I don't wanna. And but for me, it's always like behind my left eye somewhere. That's where that lives, and it's like this. It'll just start to hurt. And the best thing I can do is like either go back to sleep, or go on the internet, or eat a chocolate bar. And, take a nap. But I got up at 5:30 in the morning. I went for a 2-mile walk.
Jeez.
I know.
You, John Denver, out there in the nature.
I didn't get out before the sunrise, but I went for a 2-mile walk out there at like 7:30 in the morning. Listened to some political podcasts and got my daily news and came back, and I still had more time, and I got cleaned up, and I had to take the car, and I was like, what am I going to do with all this time? It was amazing, Jerry. It was like, holy shit, maybe getting up at 5 a.m. it was like, what is this magic? Is this for real?
Yeah.
Because I felt tired, and I'm exhausted right now. I've been up all day, and I had to go take the car in. I had to leave it at the shop for 4 hours, and so then here's the other thing is I was like, well, either I can go see Mission Impossible and eat a bunch of popcorn with peanut M&Ms in it, or there was a meeting that wasn't too far away from the dealership. And I was like, well, we'll see how I feel. And they said that they'd give me a ride to wherever I wanted to go, so I didn't have to sit at the dealership. And so I I said, yeah, just take me over to the mall here, because it was the 12-step meeting was across the street from the mall. And I get into the Uber that they called, and this dude, oh man, sometimes, I didn't get to pick it. I didn't see who it was. I didn't get to rate him, but his teeth, he needed to see his dental hygienist badly, and he just wanted to talk and talk and talk, and I was like, can you just take me to the mall? He's like, don't you want to go to the good mall downtown? You should go to the good mall. And I was like, man, I don't need to tell you why I want to go to the bad mall, because I was kind of wanted to go to that meeting across the street. Yeah. And so he finally drops me off there, and I went to Whole Foods, and it's all these, like, I'm just hanging out at Whole Foods waiting for this thing to happen, and I made the right choice. I chose not to make any excuses this morning. Is that my washer still going? Oh, we're going to hear that in the beginning of it. That's awesome.
This is a organic podcast here. It's organic, Yeah. Do you think maybe he wanted to take you to the good mall because you got up at 5 a.m, you had so much time, you were wearing a 3-piece suit?
I did have a blazer on. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. You had a blazer on. I saw your video of you earlier at Target with
Macy's
with a blazer on. Right. Does your washing machine play a little
Sorry
song?
about that. Yes, it does.
That's man, your life has changed since you started waking up early, man. That's some really technological
That's
shit
the laundry
right there,
fairies telling me my underwear's clean.
Oh, it's your clothes. Okay, yeah, mine does that too. It does. No, it doesn't do that. I just wanted to be cool. I've been up since 8, but anyway, continue your story. Did you end up?
So I went to the meeting. I went back to the mall. I sat in the massage chair. I thought about getting a box of those C's candies, like a whole box, and just sitting in the massage chair and eating them. But I didn't get the candies. But so, we wanted to talk about excuses today, and I just felt like, for whatever reason, today was the day that I chose not to give in to them. And it felt really good. Because I was planning on having this conversation with you and going, well, let me tell you about the time that I decided not to do this, or I decided not to do that, or I went ahead and gave in to my weaker self, or however you want to call it. And I didn't do any of that today. And it was pretty awesome, to be quite honest. Now, I'm not saying I do this all the time. This is
it's like the first day you've ever done it.
This is I've been up for, I don't know, 14 hours now or something, as we record this. And but it felt really good, and I think I'm going to try and go to bed around 10:30 or 11 and do it again.
Might as well. I mean, you've had success thus far, dude.
It's only one day, but
yeah, what a crazy life hack to actually sleep the full amount of time you're supposed to sleep. Life hack.
Yeah, it was just this. I don't know. I mean, I know that we use excuses all the time to, get out of this, or to not even good excuses. No, I mean, is any excuse good other than, maybe your house is on fire, but that's an emergency, not an excuse.
Right. I imagine there's ones that are positive. At least that's the way I justify it to myself. When I want to get clinical and actually examine the reason why I make excuses personally, I think it's more that the excuse is an obstacle I put up that kind of keeps me safe from my fear. And we come back to fear a lot, or at least in these, what is this, episode 5 or something. I mean, in the past 5 episodes, I think we mentioned fear at least once an episode, and I think that's where the root of my excuses lay in. But if we're going along the theme of actually having no excuses, I find that when I don't put those obstacles in front of myself, or those safety catches, I tend to have a more, like with you, have a more fulfilling experience out of life, or at least for the day, Yeah. I tell myself I don't want to go to this meeting for whatever reason, drank too much coffee, or whatever. I have 1,000 excuses, and I don't go. I just tend to, live the rest of the day out. But when I do go, 98% of the time, it tends to be a really fulfilling experience. I get something from it. There's something there that I get to take home with me. I guess I just gotta, I mean, but everybody does. We all do it. Even not even surrounding the recovery aspect of our lives. Just excuses in general, man. I have thousands of them. I'm made of them. I'm not a good example.
Well, where does one learn these things? I mean, is it just you, like you said, you're just trying to hide yourself from your fear so that if I don't,
Word.
if I decide I'm just going to stay home and play video games and I'm not going to, whether it's going to a meeting or mowing the lawn or going to get the car fixed or any of these things that we just don't want to do, I feel so much better getting it done on the other side of that fear. So this excuse doesn't alleviate the fear. It doesn't go away. And in fact, the excuses stack up, and then that's all there is. And then nothing is actually getting done, and nothing is actually being accomplished, or I'm certainly not fulfilled or as fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah, and you tend to run around with your head on fire at that point, trying to, fix all the things that you've put in disrepair or fix all the things you neglected, due to the excuses. I think sometimes it's when I look at it clinically, when I really examine it. But, I think on its face most of the time, for me personally, when I make excuses, it's because I'm just plain lazy. Like, I just really like laying down. Like, I'm a big fan of laying down and watching YouTube videos, Same thing you were doing last night, and you came upon that one that kind of changed your perspective, and then you got something positive about it. For me personally, I work out. I get up every morning at 8, and by 8:30, I've had a cup of coffee and like a bunch of water, and I'll do a workout. I'll do like a 15-minute to half-hour workout. And that's been my routine now for about 2 months. And I'll make excuses. Like, I'll be like, oh, man, I'm sore. But I don't feel as good as when I do, But that, I think when you tell yourself it's just something that needs to be done, it becomes part of the routine. Maybe even the excuses of those things in your life that they need to be done. And then if you can make a routine out of doing those things, you don't have to dig up something to keep you from doing it, I don't know.
It just, and like you said, it always feels better getting it done. And just kind of, for me, it's always that checklist of like, okay, well, I got this done today, and I got this done today, and I got this done today.
Yeah.
And even the little things around the house, whether it be, again, I apologize, doing the laundry and getting that done. Because I even thought about it this afternoon before we got on here. The laundry's full. Well, I guess I don't have to do it until tomorrow. I'll just put it off till tomorrow. And then I thought, well, just put it in the washer. Laundry really just does itself. You're not doing that much.
No, you just got to fold it.
You got to fold it. You go and you put on a YouTube video and you fold it mindlessly, right? So if the excuse is the hurdle, I guess for me, they get easier, or they get shorter, or they get smaller, or I'm actually beginning to see benefit in refusing them. It's kind of like the way that I think about it is the way that it was explained to me when I quit smoking was you have a cigarette, or you have a craving, you have a cigarette, then those two synapses, they connect and they stay close. And then as they start to, get apart, and this is not scientific or clinical, I don't know what I'm talking about exactly, but it's the feeling that I have. And then, so if they get far apart and they go, oh, I need another cigarette, and then they stay close together. But if you don't give in to those cravings, or say with alcohol, those synapses get further and further apart until they don't know each other anymore. So then you go, well, I can't rely on those things, those cravings. And so if an excuse is kind of like a craving to lay around, or to eat poorly, or to play too many video games, or not do the thing like going for a walk. I just like to go for a walk. And it's not long. I'm not out there hustling. I don't have the little shake weights in my hands, and pink leotard or anything, although, maybe I should. That might give me the little heart rate I need. But
walk faster.
But then I find that now the laundry's done, and now I can move on to the next thing, whatever that might be, whatever project I'm working on, or whether it's the writing project or doing another film project or any of those things. Now I don't have the laundry in the way. The car is taken care of. What's next? Did I pay the
What's
dentist
next?
bill? I think I already sent that off. So I mean, the thing is, it's just shit that's going to keep coming up. It's not going to stop. I keep thinking at one point, all these little annoying things of life are going to go away, and then I'll finally be able to be free to do what I want. And they don't seem to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and that's the thing about it too, is the misconception of, even if we want to get down into the recovery aspect of it, with an addiction, is that I think sometimes the misconception is that once you break the hurdle of physical addiction, your problems will get easier, and things will and they do get easier, but it doesn't even out. I mean, like you said, the dishes still need to get done. Until like my body falls apart, there will never be a point in my life where I won't have to wash a fucking glass. Like, it's just gonna always be there, like the rent always needs to be paid, like if you depend on having a job to pay that rent, then you gotta go, like it's just kind of the way it is. These things always need to be done, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. The excuses just put everything in disrepair. It's just more you have to take care of later. And then on top of it, I feel like being in active addiction is one big excuse itself, because you are putting these things in a state of disrepair. Or maybe you are taking care of those physical things, but not taking care of the mental aspect. I always feel like there's something in that is being held back, if you're actively using or drinking or whatever it is. There's always an aspect of your life that needs to be maintained that you are not maintaining, because you're what I mean? You're filling that maintenance, that time maintaining with getting loaded. I mean, even in active alcoholism, I was full of excuses. I split my head open once. I was plugging in a laptop, this HP laptop. I was plugging it in to show Megan a YouTube video of probably like, the one with the little kid biting the other kid on the finger or something. Charlie. And I bent over. I was really drunk, and I bent over and I hit my head right above my eyebrow in a bookshelf, and I split it open. And I hit my head so hard that I fucking knocked myself unconscious. I kicked over a drafting table full of brushes and paint pots full of water, and I came up and I looked at my wife and I was like, "Is it bad?" And the minute I said, "Is it bad?" just blood started pouring out of my face, like in a movie, right? So then she's like, "We need to go to the hospital." And my excuse was, "No, I'm not going to the hospital." And she's like, "Why? They'll stitch it up. You need stitches." And I was like, "No, because if I go to the hospital, this will be the third time I've injured myself drunk, and that means I have to go to an AA meeting tomorrow because I'm a giant alcoholic." I mean, that was my reasoning. And my excuse to not go seek medical care was that I wasn't ready to give up. That was my excuse, And we didn't go to the hospital. I ended up just putting tape over it, medical tape, and like falling asleep with it like that,
Did you need stitches? Are you okay?
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine now. I mean, that was all like
that was Charlie bit my finger ago.
That was Charlie. That was before I even moved to Seattle. So that was like in 2007, I think. Wow. But yeah, I'm fine now. I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. Yeah.
It's the. I feel. I mean, today was a success for me. And that's great. And I don't take that for granted. And I certainly have plenty more excuses where that came from. I've got boxes of them in the closet. But so today was a success, but I feel like the excuses that I have, they get flimsier and flimsier the better I get with recovery. The more I maintain it, the more, even just little things like cleaning off the dresser before I go to bed, not leaving a pile of laundry on there. Yeah. And I go, okay, that it just felt so much better this morning. It gave me a reason to get up, and I was like, oh, things are clean. I can start the day fresh. But they get flimsier, which means they get easier to push aside. So I am sure that there will be plenty more, and I'm sure I will say I don't want to. But I get better with those. At least I have in the last, just doing my walks. Like I don't know what kind of workout regimen you do. I know you said you do a little bit of yoga and stuff like that, but
I do yoga and dumbbells. I have 7.5 pound dumbbells. Nice. They clown me at work like, oh, those are light dumbbells, and I'm like, come do the workout with me. After a while, lugging 7.5 pounds around in each hand, it's hard. Yeah, I try to do a normal sit up and then with dumbbells. Anyway, yeah. So I'm dumbing it up. Somebody's like, get a kettlebell, and I'm like, nah, man, dumbbells is the way to go, dog.
What was it I heard about? There was these things. It was like they were called eggs, and so you hold them in your hands. They're like these weights, and they're some kind of eggs, miracle eggs. But so then they send you. They don't change the size, but the density. They send you a denser metal, so they're the same size, but they get heavier and heavier. And so you're supposed to like shadow box with them to the point where then you're fast. And I'm not a boxer, but
man, it is 2018.
Yes,
isn't
it is.
It is 2018, dude. That is crazy.
But yeah, I think it's great, and I'm super excited. But yeah, just the excuses get flimsier. They're easier to overcome. They're not, and they weren't always that way. I mean, I would sit in that room for months doing absolutely nothing and feeling no way to get out and get up, and feeling resentful toward people, even people close to me that were doing things. When you said, oh yeah, I started doing yoga, and I was like, man, like I told him about that girl on YouTube that does the yoga. I told him that like 2 years ago, and here you are doing it, and I'm upset because I'm the one who told you, but I didn't follow through with it. And so that's right. There's no excuse in there. That's just plain stupid resentment,
Yeah. I'll give you a little namaste when I'm done in the morning. I'll be like, this namaste is to John for introducing me to yoga with Adrian. Check it out on YouTube.
You really should. She's great.
Pretty cool.
She's got a good sense of humor.
She is great. Yeah.
She doesn't push you.
Yeah. Nah, she's just the right amount of hippie. I love it. She's cool. She's really cool.
But those are the things that, and what we talked about it before, about motivation versus discipline, and trying to have that discipline, and it's just something you have to develop. And I had a thought the other morning, not this morning, but I think yesterday, and I really just wanted to say, I said like my prayer for the day, and we'll talk more about that later on. But it was that I wanted it to be a productive day, but I also wanted patience for myself, because I know what happens is I get up early or whatever time, and I'm like, I'm going to do all these things. And then I maybe get like 3 of them done, and then I start on the 4th one, and then I get bored or tired or hungry, or I remember something else that I'm supposed to do because I didn't really want to do this one task. And I kind of just go, gosh, now look what I didn't do. So I spend the rest of the day going, look what I didn't do. And I go to bed feeling dissatisfied and unhappy and just kind of miserable, not because of the productive day that I had, but because of the shit that didn't get finished. And it was really helpful to me to think about, when I said that, I said I want productivity, but I want patience. And I went to bed thinking, yeah, you kind of laid around and played video games and, did stupid stuff and ate a whole ribeye steak. Like, that's not part of the program, John. But it was good. But also then the next morning I wake up and it's like, okay, so just have patience, have a little forgiveness. Don't be so hard on yourself. And I think that that's huge in not making those later excuses. And also, if you've made an excuse and you didn't do something that you were supposed to do, or you promised yourself you would do, or you promised someone else you would do, there's no sense lamenting that past mistake or that past excuse or that past resentment or whatever it is. You just go, okay, well, now I start here.
Yes. Yeah, you move on from it because it's already done.
Or undone or not done.
Or undone or not done. Yeah, I mean, that thing is already past. That's one of the biggest things I use to let go and acceptance. But that's a whole other thing, too. But I think being really forgiving with yourself is a big part of it. You have to be patient with yourself. Sometimes I'm the most impatient with myself. which is it's a great point to bring up. I mean, that's a great thing to put out there in the universe. Like, be patient with yourself, dude, and then you can figure it out from there. You know, like, yeah, you're gonna screw up. Everybody screws up. You just give yourself a margin of error. You know, because if you don't, you're gonna feel awful. Then you're gonna have an excuse. Then
right?
You're gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna do this because I'm gonna fuck it all up.
It's really you're exactly right. You just build upon excuse after excuse, and then you feel terrible, and then that's your excuse, and it doesn't work, and then that's your excuse again for that, and it goes on and on and on in this just horrible spiral of, or what's that? You know who Reggie Watts is?
The musician, comedian.
Do you know about the shit fuck stack?
I've heard the song, but I've never made it all the way through.
It's a ridiculous song, but it literally, I don't know if it really makes any sense. You have to go check out the video, but it's a shit fuck stack. You just keep stacking it and stacking it and stacking it, and then you don't want to do anything. And then the only thing you can do is play video games and eat corn chips or whatever you're into.
Right.
Popcorn with extra butter.
How many missed opportunities, you know?
Sure.
A lot of missed opportunities. I mean, like I always say, man, it's just the main reason why I do this is, I mean, in being in active recovery is that I want to make my life fulfilling. So how many missed opportunities am I having that aren't fulfilling my life, you know, that from the shit fuck stack, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, man. And I, you know, if I look back on the ones I have missed, then I'll just won't be patient with myself. I'll be beating up on myself over it. So it's counterproductive. You gotta keep moving forward. Just stay on an even keel, man. You gotta get a little seasick. You'll be all right.
It's true. I see myself as somebody who's 41, and I'll sometimes catch myself going, gosh, if I had only at 21, or if I had only at 31, or if I had only at 35, and like, what good does that do anybody? All it does is it just makes me hate myself, and it makes me hate a person that doesn't exist anymore and I can't even talk to.
Yeah, exactly. If only. All those if onlys are fairy tales. I mean, yeah, I've done it. I've been like, man, if I had only gotten sober at like 26, like, what a life I'd probably have now. Would it be better? Would it be worse? I don't know. It'd probably be great. But I'm still me. You know what I mean? Like, even, you know, I don't know, man. All those ifs, all those if onlys are like, well, if only I were born with, you know, if only I could fart rainbows or whatever. Or if only money came out of my, I don't know. Came out of my farts, I guess. I don't know. We're going on this line now. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, all these hypotheticals, and that's all they are hypotheticals. Even with the excuses. Oh, well, if I do that, this will happen. You don't know, man. It hasn't happened yet. And if it does happen, then you already knew it was going to happen, so you're not shocked. High five yourself, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true that they talk about, what is it? If you worry about something, you're living in the past. If you're anxious about something, you're living in the future. And so you never get the opportunity to live in the moment. And, you know, sometimes the moment is just wandering around the mall, waiting for the dealership to call with your car. But
I was wondering why you're at Macy's listening to, what were they playing?
Just like heaven.
Oh man, that was a pop song anyway back in the day. But I just wondering why you would walk around Macy's in a blazer and a t-shirt, listening to The Cure, like Jay Leno. Pair of nice jeans, a blazer, and a t-shirt.
Yeah, I was just waiting for the car. I was just killing time, man. Looking at suits and summer wear, and, you know, overpriced. Like, there's some polo shorts that were like $70.
Damn, they must have had extra pockets. Wait, polo shirts or shorts?
Like the brand polo?
Oh, yeah. I thought, and then for a second I thought you said cargo shorts. I'm like, they must have had like 2 extra pockets.
But I had no excuses to get out of there, or I had a good excuse to get out of there, and thankfully so. I had better things to do than to be wandering around Macy's listening to The Cure. I mean, I stayed for that song and then I left. I think. I think
you're like, oh, I love this song.
Life is a Highway came on next or something. I had to go.
Yeah, that's your cue to leave. Any time in your life, if Life is a Highway comes on, you got to bounce because shit's about to get hinky at the fucking Macy's.
If that's playing in your Uber, you should probably just have them let you out. Don't worry about the stars.
Don't even let them. Yeah, don't even let them stop. Just open the door and jump.
Life is a highway.
Life is a highway. You better get out of this Uber.
So yeah, I would say that if you're in the midst of heavy, like, layers and stacks of excuses and feeling overwhelmed, that's why we always talk about, they say one day at a time or one breath at a time, and you break it up into as small pieces as you need to. And I had a really good day today, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful, and I don't take it for granted. And I'm going to work very hard tonight to try and make sure that regardless of when I wake up tomorrow morning or what I accomplish before 9 a.m. is that I can do the best I can. But it's not important as long as you do your best. I mean, it's really,
Absolutely.
that's the bottom line. What you do is good enough. Did we say that last time? Did we talk about that?
No, but I think that's a good way to end it too.
Yeah.
Honestly, what you do is good enough.
It really.
All you can do is your best. That all you can work with is what you have. And if you want more, then you got to go out and drop them excuses and go get more.
Thanks again for listening. As always, our music is by Neglect. You can find his stuff at neglectsound.bandcamp.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And get a hold of us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.